This podcast is brought to you by Hoare Chartered Accountants. Hoare Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit hoarecharteredaccountants.ie. Now you're welcome along to part one of the Maroon and White pod, where I'm joined by Galway minor hurling manager Kenneth Burke to look ahead to his side season. They begin their season on the 19th of April, so just around the corner, and I'm sure itching to get going at this stage, Kenneth, is it?
Yeah, been a long run in the right. We're back a good while now. Probably in the gym since November with a lot of them, and kind of picked the squad in January. So a few tries in November, December, and got them back kind of one session a week on the field, kind of getting them going. Because once you start the championship, it's fairly intense. You don't get much time to work on in the training ground because you're going from match to match, like we played 3 weeks in a row. So it's fairly intense, and then hopefully you keep going after that. But yeah, it's been good so far. Schools have been successful along the way as well, which is good. They got plenty of games, so a lot of hurling so far. But we're looking forward to now a couple of weeks' time.
Is it important nearly to build your kind of players slowly, even with the schedule and everything? Because if you consider there you're starting off in November, it's now the start of April and the championship hasn't started yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because again, they're all coming from probably different levels of fitness and S&C work, and so we're trying to get them all up to the same level. And you can't just go full stream ahead at the start, so you're kind of breaking them in slowly and introducing them to the level of training that we'll be doing. And again, like I said, it was probably one session a week and a couple of trials, and then started playing a few challenge games in January and February, and ramping it up a bit more and then just managing the load with the guys that are playing a lot of school games. So it's ramping up all the time, trying to get them ready for playing week on week, which is fairly intense once the ground is fairly hard now. The weather's been good, so trying to get the body ready for 3 or 4 weeks of games in a row, which is a possibility, and then you could be a bit of a break in another 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So it's fairly intense. So we need to have them ready and get them all up to the same fitness levels and the S&C work, which is good. They have a good base so far, and they're applying themselves well. So yeah, going okay so far, and they're all getting up to speed.
Just when you look at last year, your first year in charge, obviously last year, but that Tipperary game, the character that was shown that day, it was unbelievable, like the sending offs and everything that happened that day. I know obviously disappointment when you lose at that stage, but you must have been like not really happy, but really impressed with the character that was shown that day by the group.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in I suppose we didn't start too well. Kilkenny gave us a bit of a trim in the first round, and we learnt a lot that day. And as a management team, as players, we learnt an awful lot and built from there, and got a bit of a roll. Not lots of games. Like, it's 7 games last year for a lot of them guys, which is great. Like, and yeah, obviously you want to get to our final, but they left everything out there. You couldn't really ask anything more of them. Obviously sending off affects the game. We're down to 14 for a long period of time, and you're playing in extra time then as well. Probably had a chance to win it, but that's the nature of the beast. It's very tight margins, and like they all, I suppose the biggest thing, they all improved as the games went on. So that's all you can ask for, really. Obviously you want to try and win as much as possible, but again, they're still only 16, 17. They're still very young, like, and there's a lot of years ahead of them. You're trying to prepare them for under 20 hopefully, and senior down the line with their clubs and Galway. So I think they're improving all the time, and you can't beat games. Like, they learned an awful lot from that, I think, and learning from their mistakes, and again, we learned an awful lot as well, how to prepare them and get them ready for games and make sure they're up to speed. And fairness, looking at the championship coming forward for this year is going to be very competitive as well, and teams are very strong. Just it's a few challenge games we played in Munster. There are a lot of strong teams there, and obviously Kilkenny and Dublin Wexford for us would be strong as well. So there's nothing in the games last year we played. We got a couple lucky goals, 1 or 2 games kind of pulled away at the end, but there was nothing in them games all the way through. And you can get a bit of momentum at the right time is very important, that you can pull away. And as you can see, Brian Callan there and Jonah, and there's 2 or 3 other guys on the squad there. They're playing with the 20s this year, so which is great. They're pushing on and really developing, like, and they weren't out of place at all. So they're, which is good to see. And again, there's a good few guys on the developing squad there. So it's about keeping as many of them as playing at a high level as long as possible, and that they all try and play with their club at the highest level. And that's I keep telling them, it's not about, okay, they all want to play for Galway, but being realistic, they're not going to make it at senior level. It's about trying to keep them playing with their club as long as possible, and at a high level. And I suppose that'll try and rise the standard across the county then hopefully down the line.
Yeah, you even mentioned Brian and Jonah there, obviously on the 20s now, and there's even more on the extended squad as well. That must be a real positive to see those players graduating on to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in fairness, they were all great guys. They played them so well and they looked after their body so well. And you can see they're not out of place physically whatsoever. Few guys you'd meet there, you tell them they're only 18, like, and they'll be like, "There's no way them lads are 18." They're ready for senior club hurling as well. And it's great for them and they're getting massive experience. They hopefully they have a good strong team there and they'll go far and they get lots of games there and they'll learn from that as well. And like that's all they want. The more games you get at that high level, you're going to learn an awful lot, and even training like with the likes of the guys there and that on the under 20 squad, in Ireland and Rabbit and all these guys, it's going to improve them as well. So it's the longer they can stay in that and keep pushing themselves and keep them hungry, and they have to be enjoying it as well. So hopefully, I think they're really pushing on, which is great.
For yourself, and the squad, many of last year's squad left overall.
Yeah, we've a good few actually. About 13 from last year, which is great. Like, and they obviously know what's required and what's coming down the tracks, and they're familiar with us as a management team as well of what we're kind of looking for and what we're going to be setting up. So it definitely helps that way, and they're kind of bringing on the younger guys with them then and the newer lads in this year. So it's great that you have that kind of big crossover. So yeah, them guys they're really pushing on, which is great, and they'll be the mainstay of the team hopefully this year and driving it on.
Is the same management team, or have you made any changes?
Yeah, more or less the same team. Yeah, Cathal Daly has stepped away. Right, he's taken over the St Thomas's role, so he couldn't commit to both. So which is fair enough. And God has done a lot with me in the last few years, and he's committed to Thomas, but everyone else is the same. Willie Burke is there, Ger Lyons, Evan Gilroy, and yeah, same backroom team. Evan Hennessy, S&C coach. So yeah, same guys there.
You mentioned earlier on the school success. Obviously, Perth and Rye so unlucky, Cada Sanchez as well in the B finals.
Yeah.
It's has that been a challenge getting the players back in from the schools, or has it been good as well because they're obviously playing at that 19s level then when it comes to school started.
Yeah, like they're playing at a very high level. Like they're only 16, 17, and like you said, a lot of them are 19 at that level now. So yeah, it was challenging, but once they're hurling and they're playing games at a high level, it gave us an opportunity to look at other guys in challenge games. So lads have got plenty of game time and chances. So no, we just have to manage it and make sure that they're getting enough training. In fairness, we talked to both the managers in school in the two schools, and we just dealt with week on week what was coming up, and so again, just about communication, make sure that they're doing enough but not doing too much either. So that it was good that they were challenged for All Ireland titles. Unlucky, both teams probably could have won them, which is disappointing enough for them. And when you get that far, you want to grasp it and win it. Like so, hopefully they'll will learn from that, and they might drive them on for the two Galway teams this year. A lot of that two teams will playing with under 20s and the minors. So hopefully they'll have the bit between the teeth and drive them on a bit.
Where do you feel the squad's at the minute, or is it just hard to tell? Obviously, because it's probably just been challenge matches you've been playing.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like I suppose we'll have a couple in-house games now the next 10 days or that. And we've played all the Munster Championship started now, so we can't have any challenge games. So yeah, it's hard to know. You'll be hoping that you're ready, you've enough done. But I suppose Sunday 2 weeks now will tell us a lot against Dublin, where we're at up in Parnell Park. Not an easy place to go. And yeah, you just hope that we've enough done. And again, we're going to be up against it. Up in Leinster, we have a home game right against Wexford this year, which is great. At least we get a bit of a break from travelling. But yeah, I think the guys know. Like I said, there's a lot of them there from last year, and we're kind of getting that message across to the rest of the group that it's going to be very difficult. You're travelling and trying to get yourself up to speed as quick as possible. But again, we played a lot of the Munster teams, which have been good challenges. Like I said, they're strong, so I think everyone knows what's required now to be able to perform at that level and be competitive. So I think hopefully we'll be ready.
With the way it's obviously structured, Dublin, Wexford, and Kilkenny in the tier one. If
Yeah.
you come in the top two, you go into the semi. If you come third or fourth, you go into the quarterfinals. What do you think you get out of these three games? Because obviously you do have that drawback of still being in the championship after the group.
Yeah, it's probably good in one way, but not as you're not really under massive. Well, you're not under massive pressure either to win. I suppose you want to perform and try and get a settled team and get Les performing to a level that you want. And I suppose technically you're working on stuff as well. And again, until you really win the heat of battle, you don't really know if your focus scenarios or your setup is going to really work, and you have to adapt to the teams you're playing as well. So again, it's good in one way you can learn. We learned an awful lot, like I said there last year in the group games, and we probably had two or three changes every day we went out. There was guys got a chance, they were performing, we put them in, and four or five subs every day. So you're going to need that squad, and if you get one or two injuries, you're going to need lads going to step in. So we're trying to get that message across. Everyone's going to be very important. There was like one or two guys probably weren't even in the squad at the group stage and played another quarter final and semi final later on the year. So if lads just come playing it well at the right time, they're going to get the chance. So I think we just have to we trust them and throw them in there and really back them and trust them that they're going to deliver on the day. So it's good and bad. You're not really under the crunch till later on, but I think we will learn a lot up to probably knockout games. So which I think is vital for us because we want to get a settled team and you know who's ready and who's probably just a little bit behind. So I think it's good for us that we can get a good look at a lot of players in as well.
Is the same structure then as last year when it comes to the
Yeah,
losing
yeah.
Leinster semis will go in with third and fourth in Munster into a prelim, is it?
Yeah, so if you lose your semi-final in Leinster, yeah, you're going into like a prelim
Yeah.
quarter-final against Munster teams. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's yeah, if you get to a Leinster final, you get a little bit more of a break, but so it's fairly intense if you do lose one or two games. So it's important that you want to get to a Leinster final and you want to win that as well. It gives you a bit of breathing space to try and if you do have knocks and we're kind of freshen up the group again, but you have to just manage that from game to game. I suppose experience of it last year, we kind of know what's down the tracks if it does come that way, you know.
There is this thing really though when you look at it, isn't it? It's probably just easier to go to directorate.
That is like, yeah, because it's hard to regroup and you don't know what sort of knocks you're going to get, and you want to be. It's hard to you can't really do work on too much in training because you're just going from game to game, and you're just kind of managing their load and making sure everyone's as fresh as possible because they are tough games. That like they're really emptying the tank and they're going to be set. The legs are tired after them, so it's you want to go the direct route. And again, we want to try and win the Leinster Championship as well. You want to try and push them on and in the tight games, grab it and go and win it. Like and you want to make them understand how you win in tight games. So it's hopefully they can do that down the line. Like and you want to everyone wants to win. So it's you want to develop them, but you still want them to get into a good habit of winning tight games.
On that development point, because it's really interesting when you say that. Like obviously the aim here is to develop, but winning obviously comes with that. It's how do you get the balance there?
Yeah, like everyone wants to win. They want to perform. I suppose the first thing you need to do is perform to a high level, and it's our job to try and get them to physically and mentally and tactically up to a high level that they can perform and be comfortable in a tough environment. And I suppose that's our task now is to get them to be able to perform at a high level first, and then you hopefully do that, they can perform well and win the game. So it's a kind of it goes hand in hand. If you can develop them, get them stronger, get them quicker, get them more tactically aware, puck outs are they do they know what to do when we're under the pump and it's trying to get and if they can do that, you're obviously going to win the game. You're going to create more chances for yourself, more possessions. So it goes hand in hand. And if you can get them to perform to the best of their ability, you'll be have a good chance of winning the game. Like and you want, and again, coming down the line, obviously the last game against Tipperary last year, we just got caught a couple of points, and you'll be hoping if that comes down the line this year again that we were able to manage that and hopefully win them games because winning them games becomes a habit and it's a mental thing then as well because if you lose too many of them games, you can be you can be a bit scared from them and not really trust yourself that you're going to win them. So you want to get them in a good habit of winning those games, that they totally believe in themselves going forward and going under 20 and senior, that they can win them games. Like,
You mentioned there about the home game, and like it's going to be a really demanding 3 weeks when you look at it overall. 19th of April, you
mm.
start your campaign away to Dublin and Parnell Park. Then on the Saturday 26th there, you're away to Kilkenny, and then finish obviously having a home game against Wexford. It's obviously really important to finally for Galway to get this home game. It's something we've been crying out for, and even for supporters, like because those Kilkenny and Dublin, they're long trips
Ah,
for us,
there, yeah.
the general supporter even to go to.
Yeah. And like we're starting the same weekend as the senior Leinster Championship, so we're actually on the Sunday, the 20th. So we actually only have a 6 day turnaround to the Kilkenny game. So it's going to be because Dublin are playing senior on the Saturday and they're at home, so we're kicked out until the Sunday. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, and you can't expect supporters to be going to every game. They're going to under 20 games. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to senior games. Kilkenny go playing Kilkenny away in the 19th. So obviously, a big crowd going there. You wouldn't really expect too many to be going up to watch us in Dublin on the Sunday after going to Kilkenny. It'll just be family and a few friends of the players. Like, and again, that's fine. That's the way it is. There's just so many games on at that time. And it's great to get the home game. Yeah, you'll be hoping to hopefully Kenny Park and Athenry get a good crowd in, and hope it'd be good get a good atmosphere in Kenny Park and deliver a performance for everyone. And again, it's just going to be game by game. It's very it's important that Galway do get home games because we are bringing a lot to the championship, and we should be getting home games like everyone else. Like, and we can't be expected to be traveling all the time.
exactly. And it's great to see the 20s
Yeah.
getting the home game in Dublin Park too against
Yeah.
Offaly there. For yourself, obviously second year into the role, yourself and the management team with the minors. Do you feel you've learned much from the first year?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it's even preparation wise, and we probably started even a little bit earlier than last year, and just trying to get the squad together a little bit earlier. Again, we know obviously a good few of them, but trying to get to know guys then, and to get their personality. And again, like I said, they're very young. Trying to make them comfortable in the group that they're able to express themselves and really push themselves on. And I think we obviously know a lot from last year's championship what to expect. Like I said, we know it's going to be fairly intense once it starts, so we know we have to have a lot of work done before it starts. We're not going to get a chance to get any real block in unless you get a bit of a break if you do get to Leinster final or something like that. But yeah, we learned a lot. We know a lot of players from last year. Look, we see a few of them from trials last year, so you kind of knew we are going in really fresh last year. Oh, you might know 10, 12, 12 players from the stronger players, but you're trying to get to know the rest of the group. So I think being there last year helped us a lot we know what was kind of coming, and there's good strong guys that came up from under 15 level from last year as well. So it's very competitive to get into the groups as it is. Like the Celtic Challenge have a strong team there as well. So there's probably 4 or 5 guys very lucky not to make the panel.
Would you dip
There
into
was
that
tight calls.
throughout the season? Would you dip into the Celtic Challenge?
Yeah, like again, it depends on injuries, I suppose, and if lads are fit or how fixed at the time. And but again, they're going to be playing. They're starting the next few days as well, so it depends on their games and when they will clash. There's clashes later on, so it kind of goes week to week. And yeah, if the guys are really performing, you have to look at them and see can you fit them in somewhere like.
Just on a general uh, side of things, like you mentioned their development, are you in contact then throughout the season much with Fergal and Mihal to on the general, I suppose, nearly working together in Galway hurling circles? Would you be in contact much throughout the season?
Not in the mid-season. We had a good chat there right start of the year about a lot of things and what was happening, what was going on, and so we had a good chat and kind of got a few things in place and trying to work on a few other things. So I do talk to them a couple of times, yeah. But obviously they're busy now. And we're flat out kind of in the middle of it. So we did have a few meetings at the start of the year and what preparation, I suppose, for all teams. And but once we got kicked off, we've only spoke a couple of times, but because everyone's really in the middle, they're kind of looking after your own group and trying to make sure that everyone's pushing on. But yeah, we're trying to align everything. Can everything be done all the way up to under 14 academy, from the under 14 academy all the way up to senior? And I suppose that's you're trying to tell younger guys that this is the if you can stick to this pathway or as much as possible, you'll always have one or two bolters that might come from somewhere later on in late developers. But for the main, a lot of them will be in an under 14, under 15 academy all the way up to senior. They're going to be playing at a high level all the time, and the sooner you can get them in, they're going to be training at a higher level in as well. Like, and it's they're going to make each other better and push. We want to keep the standards. You want to keep the standards high as possible in the academies and all the way up to minor 20 and senior. And I suppose that's what we want to try and make the players want to really be there. You want to keep create an environment that they can grow and be happy, because again you want them to be enjoying it. It can't be a chore. There's no point. They're not going to be there, and they're not going to sacrifice themselves and do the extra bits that they need to do on their own. There's only so much we can do when as a group. So yeah, you're trying to make an environment for them that they can really enjoy and push themselves on and challenge each other. Like.
For yourself, you've obviously managed a adult level now at minor under 17 level. What do you think is the biggest difference between adult and minor level at the minute?
I suppose you're kind of introducing players to maybe a lot of tactical stuff, and some of them would have touched on it maybe with schools and clubs if they're playing maybe a little bit higher level. But you're trying to maybe introduce guys to puck out tactics or setups, different setups, and I suppose anything just S&C work. Yeah, you're really kind of introducing them to a lot of new stuff, trying to get them to take more ownership of their own values as well, and trying to get them to do their own stuff as well, and that they're helping each other out as much as possible as well. Older players, they kind of know what's required to a certain level. At senior level, they know they've been in the system up along. A lot of them might have played inter-county minor under 20 up along, and then played a senior at their club, obviously. So they're a lot more experienced. I suppose you can be a little bit harder on them as well, that they're what's required. Younger players, you're trying to educate them and bring them along as much as possible, and trying to be positive with them. And as again, you don't want to be making them afraid, or making them, if I make a mistake here, I'm not going to be playing, or I'm going to make, I don't want to be you can't be too hard on them all the time. So you're trying to bring them along and educate them and tell them what's required. Like, and but they're all younger guys are like a sponge though. They just love information. They love all the stats that we're doing now, and they just want all that knowledge. And like we got GPS this year, and they all want to get their stats after games, and which is great. And they just love that knowledge, that information. So I think older players that mightn't have been used to that wouldn't like that. So I think the younger players, they really want the knowledge. So you just have to give it to them, and it's back up for the performances as well. Like if some guys just aren't working hard enough, you can say as well, you didn't hit your targets. That then compared to other games, you played very well in this game. You ran 8K in that game, and you ran 1,000 meters at top speed. So it's you have all that backup for them as well, and it can really enlighten them. Like.
For yourself, Kenneth, obviously a very hectic year last year, between managing Thomas's and the Galway minor job. We've seen various managers in different codes go between club and maybe underage county level, or even go between two teams throughout the year. How hectic was it?
Yeah, it was pretty busy now right at the start of the year, yeah, between I suppose the senior league is starting next weekend as well, so that was kind of the same last year. Yeah, it was pretty mayhem, all right, but we got through it. I suppose Thomas has probably suffered a small bit at the start of the year with the minors, and I wasn't there as much as I could. But the guys were working away in the background. They were getting the work done, playing the league games, and yeah, it was. And I suppose you didn't get much of a break. Then it was straight into back into the club then again, and you were back into championship hurling and getting back into gear again and trying to get lads ready. But again, we didn't. It was okay. Obviously, supportive wife kept the things on the road here at home and the kids. So it was challenging at times, but we got through it. Obviously, Thomas didn't finish off the way we would have wanted to, but that's sport. And you just things, and we just didn't perform at the level we needed to. Probably a bit of fatigue and mental fatigue, I suppose, got us in the end, and just didn't perform to the levels we needed to get back to where we wanted to be. But It was busy but enjoyable at the same time. Like, again, like I said at the start, you wouldn't do these roles if you weren't enjoying it and love trying to challenge players and make players better. At the end of the day, that's our role, is trying to make them better. So that's I enjoy try to you like to see players improving, and that's all we want.
Was it a was it a difficult decision for you to step away from Thomas's?
I was like, yeah, you'd I suppose I've been involved with some of the seniors for 20, whatever, 22 years of that since from playing and being involved in the management team. So yeah, it'll be different now, right? Yeah, I'm not missing at the moment, but when the championship starts in a few weeks' time or a couple of months' time, you'll be probably looking in wondering what's going on. But yeah, I suppose yeah, the guys are there, Cahill's there now, and they're working away hard. So yeah, they'll be hopefully knocking on the door again. But that's sport. You just have to let them on. I think they needed a fresh voice in as well, and been there, like I said, a long time, either playing or in the management. So they're probably sick of listening to it.
It was when you look back on it since you stepped away, did it give you time to appreciate what you achieved? Because even going out last year, I think people really appreciated what Thomas's did in Galway over the last decade.
Yeah, like when you're in the middle of it, you don't really let yourself think about it. You're just kind of going from year to year, game to game, and trying to perform and win every game. So you don't actually let yourself really think about what they achieved, like, and you're until you're out of it, really. Yeah, it doesn't really sink in. So again, they're all back again training. They're not going to be too far away. Hopefully, they'll be knocking on the door. They're not going to be a bad team overnight. So they're. But again, yeah, it was a great achievement. They're well deserved. They've worked hard over the years and dug out games. And like I said earlier, yeah, you winning tight games becomes a habit, and you get that belief inside, and you don't really think you're ever going to lose. And even when you're playing poorly, you think you're going to win. So it's trying to develop that into Galway players as well is going to be vital going forward. But yeah, we will a lot of enjoy the years of Thomas's, and hopefully they're not finished yet.
Be a different experience now as a supporter, will
It'll be worse, yeah. It'll be worse
it?
looking in.
Great stuff, Kenneth. Well, thanks a million for coming on to this week's podcast and best of luck in the Leinster Championship.
Thanks a million, Paul. Cheers. Thanks.
Now in part two of the show, I'm joined by Roscommon senior hurling captain Conor Cosgrove. Conor obviously plays his club hurling as well with Ardrahan. Conor, obviously, thanks very much for coming on to the podcast. You're playing with Roscommon this time of year. Busy time of year?
Yeah, it's busy. It's busy. Just finished the league there now, so just trying to get ready for championship. Like, but yeah, it's good. Like you're getting a full preseason in there, November, December. Like, and you're getting games, which is massive. Like 70-minute games, high intensity. Like, so Joe, it'll send you for the club later on in the year as well. Like, so yeah, the busier the better. The more games is like every player will say like they'd rather play games than training. Like, so yeah, it's good stuff.
Before we get into it, obviously, there's probably a curiosity when people obviously know you for playing for Ardrahan and you've been playing hurling with Roscommon now for a few years. First of all, how did that come about?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, like my father's from Roscommon. That's the connection. And yeah, I was never even aware of the rule, to be honest. I'm not too sure exactly what the details of the rule is, but because he's from Roscommon and he was a member in the club in Roscommon, that qualified me to play. It was actually Johnny Kane from Portumna, who was over Roscommon there a couple of years ago, who rang me first. I was living in Dublin at the time, and I was actually doing a postgrad course in the evening, so I actually couldn't commit when he first rang me. And he actually left in after that year, so I didn't even, I never actually played under him. So I thought that was the end of it, to be honest. Like I never heard anything after that. So, and I still live in Dublin. So then the following year, the new management in place, they rang me as well. And like when you're living, lads who are living away for college and stuff will know this. Like it's very difficult to get down to Ardrahan, like for training during the week and stuff when you're living in Dublin. Um, like I was lucky enough, I did the odd session with Nafina there in Pandra, but it's very hard to like. There's only so much running and stuff in your home you can do, like trying to stay fit. Like it's very hard. So the second year when they rang me, like they obviously trained at loan as well, so it was saving me the journey down to Ardran, and I didn't really know what to expect. Like I said I'll get involved anyway and see how it goes, and it turned out brilliant. Like I really enjoyed it. So they trained at loan. It was easy to get down there from Dublin and stuff like. So that's how I got involved really, and just went from there.
Even when looking at your Roscommon team, you obviously have Jack Dowling from Matt and Ryan involved as well. You've had Enda Lawless from Mila
Mm.
Gercourt has been involved, and you're looking at Brian Duffy and Simon Thomas as well playing with Mayo. For the intercounty door, like if you can't get your opportunity with Galway, it is fantastic to get this taste of intercounty hurling.
Yeah, it is like and like there's massive opportunity there. Like at the end of the day, if you ask any of the Roscommon team like why they play, like they want the goal is to represent your county in Croke Park. Like that's the opportunity that's there. If you get to Nicky Racker final or a Christian Ring final, whatever it is, like it's on in Croke Park, you have your day out. Like that's every player's dream. Like um, and yeah, like if you go down to like a lot of the counties down those levels, like they do have a couple of players from outside counties who play. Um, but like what I would say is like you're not really guaranteed your spot. Like no more than myself. Like when you're down to Roscommon, like by no means just because you're from Galway or anything like that, you're nailed on to get in. Like you have to work just as hard as the rest of them to get into the team. And I'm sure it's the same way for down in Mayo or Sligo or anywhere else. Like um, so yeah, you do have to kind of earn your spot. But in fairness, like the lads, they're very welcome. Like I've met some great people down in Roscommon over the last few years. Like and they're very good to us, like, and they look after us very well, like. So, yeah, like there is an opportunity there, like if you don't make it, obviously in your own county, which a lot of lads have done. Like you see a lot of lads maybe towards the end of their careers up in Monaghan and stuff. There's a few hurlers that played for Clare back in their day and stuff like that. So there is like all the counties are kind of doing it. So, but yeah, it's good. It's a good experience, like.
When Roscommon initially, you get the phone call that time, and you're still playing hurling obviously with Ardrahan then, and you're still playing now. Obviously, you're thinking in your head probably that Galway could still be kind of there as an option. Is it a difficult decision then to make to go for it?
Yeah, like I try not to think about that. Like to be honest, like as I said, I was living in Dublin, and it was hard, like commuting down to Ardrahan for training and stuff, and you're just trying to look after yourself and keep yourself as fit as possible without doing as much training as you would probably want to be doing. And like the demands, I suppose now, like what they say, like the Galway setup, Galway, Limerick, Clare, those top teams, like you kind of have to be probably around to get to training on time. You're there like an hour before, and like it's a massive commitment now. Um, so yeah, like it is difficult, but I try not to think about that. Like the opportunity came to play for Roscommon. I said I'll do it for a year and see how we get on. I wasn't thinking like anything else, to be honest. Like so, um, yeah, like again, like the Roscommon season is so short as well. Like you're finished up. If you get to a final, it's usually the last weekend in May or first weekend in June. Like so, it's all wrapped up and you're back with your club then, like in plenty of time. So, yeah, like for me, it was just about playing games. You're getting the league in. You're getting 70-minute games. Um, while living in Dublin, like so, it was just a no-brainer for me. Like I couldn't really turn down the opportunity. So I wasn't really thinking about anything else, to be honest.
Is it different in one sense, given that you played underage for Galway?
Yeah, maybe like it's it's a long time ago now, I suppose. But yeah, like it's yeah, again, like you don't really those kind of things don't kind of go into your thinking when you're like brought with the opportunity. Like I remember when I first chatting to Johnny Kane, like that time he was just selling the idea, and like it was again training at loan. A lot of like they did a good team at the time and stuff. So again, you had that opportunity to play in Croke Park, and that's the end goal. So yeah, like those kind of other things don't really come into your mind, but yeah, it's an interesting point though.
When you look at it, as we mentioned, obviously you're at Roscommon, there's players with Mayo. Overall, obviously you're in the Nicky record this year, but overall, how would you say the standard of hurling is at Nicky record?
Yeah, it's good. Like it's in, like a lot of the teams are very evenly balanced. There's not much between the teams. Obviously, as I said, Mayo are probably the team to beat this year. They're probably the clear favourites based on how they went last year, and they got close to winning last year. But like outside that, like there's nothing between the teams. And like the standard is pretty good. Like there's players in these counties like that, like the main media probably would never have heard of. Like but they are just as good as anyone that's out there. Like you come across a few like unbelievable players. Like so, like the standard is good. Like the difference, I'd say, probably from say like top end county is probably just like the speed of thought, the intensity, um, and like just yeah, the way of thinking. Like that's probably the biggest difference. But like if you go down to these like teams like Roscommon and Mayo, like all these players are trained just as hard and just as frequent as the top teams. Obviously, this like the standard isn't as good, like from a like ability perspective, but that's just probably coming from like underage setups and stuff as well. Like Galway were obviously embedded in hurling from a young age. Like if you go to like Roscommon, you're competing with football, and like these so-called weaker counties, like a lot of them, football is probably more prominent. So you have that to battle with as well. So like it's all coming from like the underage setups and stuff like that. So there is obviously a goal from difference in ability, but in terms of like attitude and willingness to learn and train, there isn't much of a difference at all. Like, and these guys love hurling just as much as anyone else. There's only a small pocket of hurling in Roscommon. I think there's only 7 adult clubs or senior clubs. But like, there's nothing to say that them lads don't enjoy hurling just as much as anyone in Galway or Limerick or anything like that. So yeah, it's interesting. I think we should be probably doing more to promote the hurling like these counties. I don't know if you saw there's an interview there at the weekend after the Division 4 final.
Yeah.
The Louth manager and the Louth and Fermanagh manager had a good chat. Like, it's interesting because if you compare it to football, like, and it should never be football versus hurling, like, but you wonder why those games weren't played in Croke Park. Like, even Division 2, like, there was no 65s lined out on the pitch. Like, it's a shame, like, because there's so much we can do to bring these counties along with us, like. So, but yeah, it's not an easy one though. In fairness, like, it's probably needs to be driven from higher up, like in the GA, rather than the county boards themselves. Like, they have a lot to deal with already. So it's an interesting one. It's not an easy challenge, but it's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
It's a great point you make there. It's something I wanted to touch on. When you see the venues over the weekend of Inniskeen and Gales and these places, like, fair play to those clubs, like, for coming out and hosting the games. But at the end of the day, like, no inter-county hurler really dreams of playing a national final in those venues. Does definitely seem like there is a lack of respect for the lower divisions when it comes to hurling.
Yeah, like, and as you said, like, it's no disrespect to the clubs that host those games. Like, we played in Inniskeen last year against one, and like, it's a fine setup and they've brilliant facilities down there. Like, but at the end of the day, it's a National League final. Like, it should be on in Croke Park. And I know they'll probably talk about, and then there's a debate that kind of went on for Division 1 and 2 football, that there was no atmosphere because of the crowds. Like, but the players don't really think about that. They only have one opportunity in the year, as I said, like their Nicky Racker, their Loymar, whatever it is, to get to Croke Park. Why not have that in the league as well? Like, it's just another opportunity to get to Croke Park. And like, that's what you need to have to kind of bring those counties along with you. Like, if you're a young lad up in Fermanagh or Louth looking at your county team, getting to Croke Park, like, that's where you want to be in future. That's the only way to kind of drive young lads to pick up a hurl. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting, like, how the football, even Division 4 was down. And like, that's no, again, no disrespect to those counties either. Like, they deserve their day out in Croke Park just as much as anyone. Like, but yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at, because like, yeah, I know, like, I don't know, was it last year, a couple of years ago, there was talks of getting rid of the lower divisions of the league altogether. Like, and like, that was just fundamentally wrong in my opinion. Like, I think you need to be doing everything you can to kind of keep those counties playing hurling and bring, like, getting young lads involved. Like, it's the only way to kind of drive it on. Like, even in Roscommon there at the weekend, the under-20s had their championship. Like, they've been training away whatever the last few weeks or months. Went out last weekend against Wicklow, played the first round. It was a quarter final, I think, whatever C division or whatever it is, lost after extra time, and now the year's over. Like, so majority, like, a few of those lads will still be with us for the rest of the year or whatever, but the majority of them won't pick up a hurl again for Roscommon until next year, like, if they're still under 20, so there's so much more we can be doing. Like, I think that's something that needs to be looked at. Like, not even getting a replay, like, went extra time and getting knocked out by a point after extra time and the year's over. Like, it's a shame. Like, and it's the same way for a lot of the counties. Like, they're trying to develop hurling, and the only way they're going to develop is by bringing along the younger lads.
It obviously would benefit even the lower divisions if they can get to Croke Park more. But even Willie Mair's gone in now as the head of hurling. What do you feel more can be done? Like, it's obviously not going to be done quickly, and it's going to take a while for, I suppose, Willie Mair to push these counties on. But what's the main thing as players do you think that could be done?
Yeah, like, it's not an easy job now. I don't envy him going in there, but I think I was reading something a couple of months ago about Coulter above in Donegal. Like, he was driving, getting all the schools playing hurling, like primary schools, like, no matter what area. Like, obviously a lot of the counties, it's no more than Galway. Like, it's usually 50-50 split, or not 50-50, but like, you'd have very few dual clubs, or it's either hurling or football. Like, even Donegal now, in the football or so-called football areas, they're trying to drive hurling in schools, which I think that's kind of where you need to start at least. And obviously it'll take like a good few years to kind of fully see the results of that, at like adult level. But I think to start at the grassroots is key. And that's where you have to start really. Like, it's like, as I said, like, those finals you can play in Croke Park are great. The players are there now, like, but it's the next crop of players. Like, there's massive turnover in players in these divisions. Like, even I see it there, Roscommon myself. Like, you'd have a completely new panel 1 year to the next. Like, lads just dropping off for different reasons, and it's really important that we keep those lads playing. And like, the only way to do that is kind of incentivize it and try and getting your day out in Croke Park, that kind of stuff, and just getting games. Like games is why we play hurling. Like we don't play to train. Like so, just get as many games as possible is I think is important as well.
The club scenario is obviously a big probably problem in one sense in these, like you mentioned there's seven. I think it's Carlow only have four senior clubs as well. It's like there is when you look at these counties, there's very few clubs, and adding more and more clubs could really push this on too.
Yeah, like I think Mayo have created a few new clubs in recent years. I think they're doing really well, and Turin obviously narrowly missed out on Northern Ireland intermediate a couple of years ago. Like so, like there is definitely that's another route to go down. Like I don't know. I think Four Roads and maybe Port Pierce there and Roscommon were involved in the Galway League, those
Yeah,
lower divisions. Like I don't know if that's still happening now, but I think things like that is would be no harm. Like and like obviously Paul Bellew and the Galway County Board they've enough to be worrying about their own. Like but like if there is an avenue there to kind of bring those teams in to like a lower division of a league, get them playing games against good opposition, I think that'll do no harm. And again, as I said, like games is the only way to kind of keep lads involved and keep lads engaged. So yeah, obviously the logistics of it probably aren't easy either. Like getting Roscommon teams traveling and vice versa and stuff like that. But Joe, if the logistics makes sense, if you're near the border, that kind of stuff, I don't see why it would be a problem. Like the only other thing as well, like is the likes of Four O's now, for example, like a lot of their lads are on the county team, like so they might be missing out now with the club. If they had to go and play like a junior club in Galway, for example, like in a league game without those lads, like it probably wouldn't benefit them at all. Like I think they need their full crop of players to kind of do something like that. But I think that's no disrespect to the lads who are there at the moment. Like it's just the numbers, like no more than ourselves and Ardrahan, like they have small numbers. So when you're missing a few, like it's it does have a big impact. So you should be careful of how we actually do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely something to look at.
with Roscommon, obviously this year, as you mentioned, Nicky Rackard, just around the corner now. For the league, for Roscommon as a county, is that one of the most enjoyable competitions?
The Hurling League,
Yeah,
yeah, like it is. I said, like you're just getting game time. Like, and I know it's early in the year and the conditions and stuff probably aren't great. Like, I don't think we played one game where there wasn't the gale force breeze one half. Like, it's constantly a game of two halves. Like, but like you're getting minutes into legs. Like these 70, 75 minute games. Like it is a big difference. It's the first thing I noticed when I first started playing. Like, you're used to like 60 minutes for the club, or whatever. The 70 minutes, it is a big kind of difference. So yeah, just getting minutes into the legs, like that time of year, like is the best part about it. Like, um, and as I said, like you're trying to get a bit of momentum then into the record. The thing with the league is the way it was this year. Like there's a few Chris Searing teams thrown in there as well. So like you're playing against better opposition. That's only going to bring you on as well. Like so yeah, it gives you a good gauge of where you're at going into the Nicky Rackard then. So it's interesting because you're playing at the same time you're playing a lot of the teams who you'll be playing again in championship. So like you don't want to kind of give too much away at the same time, but like as I said, like they're small panels, like so we're not like blessed with massive numbers, so you can't change too much. Like so you will have the bulk of your team playing most games. Obviously, if you try and blood new lads and give lads a run and stuff like that who are training away, like but the bulk of your team will be there and trying to build your spine of a team. And that's what the league's good for, like.
be it demanding a couple of weeks now, will it? With the
It will,
record.
like, because the first three rounds of the record are back to back. So we have 3 weeks in a row and then we have a week off, and then I think it's 2 weeks in a row again. So like you're playing what 5 or 6 games in 6 weeks, like, and so the club league is thrown in there as well. Obviously, probably won't be able to play an awful lot of that. Like, but yeah, as I said, like you wouldn't change it though. Like once you're kind of minding the body and recovering right, that's what we want to do. We want to be playing games every week, and you can tell even like for ourselves, like the change in training the last few weeks, like when it's championship season, like the mood changes and it just everything goes up another level. I'm sure it's the same with other counties as well. Like the league is a league, but everyone's focus is the championship. And like this Nicky Record, like that's our All Ireland. So um, that's what everyone's kind of aiming for, and yeah, it steps up a bit after the league.
Is it easier? Well, not easier, but just having like one or two Galway lads within the Roscommon setup, does it make it a bit extra special?
Yeah, it does. Like I didn't know Jack now before, even though he's only down the road not tonight. Like he's a bit younger than me now. I didn't know him before I got involved in Roscommon. But yeah, like you're kind of the odd day you'll be traveling to train together and stuff like that. Like it's good because it's a long old spin to Athlone there on your own most nights. But yeah, it does make it a bit nicer. Like, and like we've a good bond there with the lads. Like, and the lads are very welcome to us. Like, it's Rusty there from Aircourt. He's in goals. He's played a lot longer than me. Like, I think he's 5 or 6 years with Roscommon now, so he's well established. So yeah, like it is nice, but as I said, like we don't see ourselves as like, oh, that's gone in. We're all Rossies, like, so. Um, yeah, like they've been welcome to us, like, so we need to kind of give a bit back to them as well.
You mentioned there you play with Ardrahan and then obviously when you can with Roscommon. But as you mentioned, it's a benefit there in one sense. The season finishes in May and you can go over then to Ardrahan.
Exactly, yeah, and like hopefully you've a bit of momentum, bit of form built up between the league and the championship and the record, like, so. Like if most club players now, like they'll be going in. Obviously, this weekend is the first round of the league in club and Galway, so this is their first, like, unless a few challenge matches or whatever. But like I'll be going in, maybe playing like 12, 13 competitive games, like, as I said, 70-minute games as well. So like you've hopefully built up a good kind of bit of stamina and a bit of fitness, a bit of hurling as well, like, because you can't beat match practice, like, so. Yeah, hopefully, like once that finishes up down in Roscommon, we kind of bring a bit of momentum into the club, going into the summer, like, because yeah, it's no harm just to kind of change the scenery as well, like it freshens up a bit, like, so. Yeah, it's good.
Ardrahan over the last few years, you've been building impressively. Obviously beaten by Bridge in the last 2 years, but the last 2 or 3 years in particular, you've been consistent.
Yeah, like when we came up from senior B, like that was at that time that was the aim. And obviously when you come up, then like the first step is to kind of establish yourself and not just kind of up and down every year. So I think we've done that well in the last few years. Obviously last year was disappointing how we went out against Bridge, especially losing from the same stage the previous year. So yeah, that's something definitely we'll have to look at. Like, but yeah, just trying to build a bit of momentum. Like we've obviously had to rebuild the last few years as well. Like a lot of lads when I first started playing, like had retired and stuff. So the onus was on us to kind of rebuild that and drive it on again. We've got young lads coming on the last few years, and it's going to be up to them now as well to kind of kick it on this year. Like I know it's cliche, everyone probably says it, like, but any good team is player led. So like if you like any of the good top setups, like it'll always be player driven. Like, so it'll be up to them younger lads now again this year to drive it on another step, and hopefully we can go further than we have in the last few years. As I said, we have a new manager involved now, so yeah, we'll see how we get on. But um, yeah, we've been building nicely the last few years, but hopefully we can kick on another level now.
When you're looking at two of your more experienced players, Italians still going for you, and
Yeah,
even Johnny Glynn, what was that dynamic like when he was commuting back and over
yeah,
from the
it's
American
it's
team?
tough. It's tough on him in fairness. Like it's like it just goes to show how much like he's willing to give flying back from New York to play. Like, and like as you can probably tell from our results and stuff, when he's there, when he's not there, like he gives us obviously a massive boost when he is there. But like we can't really be dependent on him either. Like he's been gone now for a few years, like, and we're well used to it now. So we're used to playing without him, and we kind of just plan not having him. Like, and sure, Tan then, like, you'll never get rid of Tan. I'd say I'll retire before Tan does. Like, he's evergreen. Like, but he's kind of a bit of a knock at the moment now. But he'll be back without a doubt. Like he's some man to stay going. Like, but yeah, they're two massive players. Like they're leaders in the club. They have been for a long time. Like, and even with Galway, back a couple of years ago, like they've shown us a lot, and we've learned a lot from them. Like, and we still are. And that'll continue this year though.
And having obviously then the two Fahis with the seniors, obviously Derek and Keenan really cemented themselves over the last few years, and even their younger brother Donna as well now with the 20s and Brian Callanan as well.
Yeah, like, and they're as I say, like they're leaders. When they come back after the Galway setup is finished, like you can see the difference they bring to training and stuff. And yeah, they're leaders in their club. They'll be there next couple of years driving it on. Like, and I said they've established themselves now into the Galway team, and fair play to them. It's well deserved. Like they work they work very hard to get there. And then yeah, the younger lads, Donna and Brian, like they're two brilliant talents. We're great to have them. Like Donna, he's obviously playing in goal for the 20s, like, but he's playing on field first last year. He's great with stuff. Like, and Brian is obviously, like, he's only young, like, I don't want putting too much pressure on him. Like, and same with Donna, like, but they'll be big players for us in the next few years. Like, and once they continue to develop and work hard, like they'll be sound. And yeah, power to them.
When you look at the winners over the last few years, obviously Loughrea and then Thomas's run last year. but you're looking at the likes of Loughrea, Thomas's, Turlock, those 3 or 4 teams, even Capitali getting to the final last year. Do you feel like even for the clubs at senior, is there work to be done for other clubs to get to the top clubs level?
Yeah, you have to say there is. Like, sure, Thomas is up until last year were the team to, like, everyone was trying to reach. Like, they've obviously, how many did they do in a row? Like, but I think fair play to Captaga last year. Like, I think they'll probably give a lot of teams, you know, a bit of a boost to show, like, why can't we do this? Like, because I don't think, in fairness to them, I don't think many people would have said they would have got to a final last year. Like, and fair play to them, like, they proved everyone wrong. Like, and I think that just goes to show, like, if you do work hard and you do get it right, there is an opportunity there to get to a final. Obviously, like your Thomases and your Loughrea's, Turlocks, they're massive clubs, and you know, they'll be probably big favourites no matter who they're playing. So they're still the teams to kind of go after. Like, but I think you just have to kind of focus on yourself, and I think those first 2 rounds are vital. Like, if you kind of pick up a win and pick up a bit of momentum, like anything can happen. You can see that with Captaga last year. Like, so I think that's what every club, every team will be saying that to themselves at the start of the year. Like, Joe, everyone, it's all about self belief. Like, and if you can pick up a few wins in the way, gather a bit of momentum, like, who knows what can happen.
For yourself then, for the players that you would have played underage with Galway with, is there many or how many of them have now broke onto the senior?
Yeah, there's a few. Like, he's the same age like Quilo and the likes of, like, Tom On, Jack Grealish, them lads. Like, yeah, there's a few there. Like, but you always could tell, like, even from, say, I don't know, like under 15 or 16 development squads, like they were always the standout players. Like, they were always, you know, the likes who Sean Lands and all, like they were always destined to play for Galway. Like, they were, you could tell from a young age. Like, but like, it's not even about their talent. Like, it's their work ethic and, you know, their willingness to learn and develop. Like, and that's what got them where they are today. Like, and I think that's what it takes for, you know, a top intercounty setup. Like, you need to be, you know, willing to put in those hard yards, and, like, in fairness to them, they all were. And yeah, like, it's probably, there's probably a lot of players there. I know that there's a lot of talk for Galway won a lot of minors and stuff, and never kind of developed into senior. But I think that's starting to change now. We've seen the last few years that a lot of those minor teams that did well, they're all well established on the senior team now, like the likes of, you know, Darren Morrissey and these lads. So, like, yeah, it's good. It's good to see that they're kind of pushing on now and getting onto senior teams and doing well for Galway. It's good to see.
Funny there when you mentioned the lads you played with, they're nearly some of the oldest players given the age profile this Galway team has now become.
Yeah, like, it's mad really. To be honest, like, you think that there's a few 18 and 19-year-olds there in the panel now. It's just getting younger and younger every year. Like, you'd rarely see like a 25, 26-year-old break onto a team now, like a top intercounty team. Like, it's all just getting younger and younger every year. Like, and, you know, it's interesting. Like, because I suppose you'd have to kind of bring them on a journey younger every year. Like, the S&C side of it, like, you're getting them into it earlier, because it does take a few years to kind of develop into it, like a proper, you know, the S&C side of it. Like, if you look at the likes of Limerick and Cork, these, like, they're huge men now. Like, so it will take a few years for those lads to get up to speed. Like, but um, yeah, like, it's no harm having them on the journey anyway, and getting to kind of a bit of a taster of what it takes. Like, and that experience will only stand them in the future as well.
What have you made over the last few years of watching Galway?
Yeah, like, they obviously, they say this themselves, like, they haven't done as well as they would have liked, but like, it's hard to know. Like, they obviously are in a transition period as well. Like, it's a lot of the 2017 team that won the All Ireland, like, are kind of finished up now or whatever. So it will take some time, and I think we have to be patient as Galway hurling fans as well. Like, you have to kind of back them all the way. It will take some time. Hopefully now we'll see, like, this year they'll be able to kick on again, maybe win a Leinster or whatever. But, like, the talent is there. Like, there's no doubt about that. And sure, they've obviously good leaders there on the panel as well. Like, so there's no reason why they can't push on. So yeah, I think we need to just kind of support them all the way, and hopefully they do it.
Yeah, just, a lot of the younger players, as you mentioned, they're getting their go throughout the league. There was some good days and bad days, but that's probably what there's going to be now for the next while.
Exactly. Like, and you just have to kind of take that, like, it's part of the journey as well. Like, these are very young lads. Like, you can't expect them to come and go out every day and perform. Like, I was playing a bit of Fitzgibbon hurling there with ATU the start of the year. I went back to the Masters, and I seen the likes of Rory Burke there and Oisin Nolan, like, these lads, Dylan Dunn, Clanbury, like, these are top hurlers. Like, and like, if they keep developing the way they are and keeping the head down, like, they'll have great careers in the Galway jersey. Like, so we just have to be patient with the likes of them. Like, and as you said, there will be up and down days, like, but you kind of have to ride the wave and hopefully come out the right side of it in the end. There's always going to be talent in Galway. Like, it's just about getting them in the right kind of frame of mind and stuff, and getting them up to speed. I think the management team that are there at the moment are the right team to do that. So I think we just need to be patient with them. But yeah, there's no doubt the hurlers are definitely there. Like,
How did you find playing Fitz this year? Like how close do you think that is to intercounty level?
yeah, it was good. Like, because the last time I played Fitz now, it was like 7 or 8 years ago when I was at NYG. So it was a lot different. Like, but like we had two tough games there against Mary I and UL. Like, both those teams had loads of top intercounty hurlers. Like, but we went down to play UL. Like, and I'd say 13 or 15 out of the 15 maybe were all top intercounty hurlers. Like, so it was great. It was great exposure, a great experience. I enjoyed playing the games now, in fairness, and like they're just bound to stand to you like later on in the year, and you're testing yourself against the best young lads that are in the country. Like, so, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it anyway. Obviously, disappointing results. We were probably unlucky not to beat Mary I, and that would have kept us in it. Put it up to UL as in fairness for the most part of the game, but kind of fell out. They emptied their bench then, and they'd intercounty lads on the bench, and they pulled away in the end. But yeah, it was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
Good stuff. Well, Connor, thanks very much for coming on to this week's podcast, and best of luck for the season ahead.
No bother at all, Paul. Thanks a million.